This is YG-TV and the YG Stage, sponsored by Fleet Farm, Health Payment Systems, and Circle Electric. I'm your host, Andy Weins, President of Green Up Solutions, here on set at Serendipity Labs in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. For more content shaking up the business industry, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to Andrew taking the stage to talk about leadership through chaos in just a moment. Today, we welcome Andrew Metz, Speaker and Regional Vice President of Sales at Zywave. Let's welcome him to the stage. What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
All right, so talk to me. What are we talking about today on the stage?
Talking about chaos, and we're talking about leadership.
Chaos and leadership?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything else. Those are probably my two favorite things in the world. Let's make this happen.
Let's do it.
Perfect.
Fleet Farm has everything you need for every season of life. From tending the vegetable garden season to planting 100 acres of crops season. Fleet Farm is your one-stop shop. Whether it's strawberry jam season, cook your walleye season, or his first set of wheels season. Fleet Farm is built for every season. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
For more than 80% of families, today's medical billing practices are confusing. At HPS, our goal is to improve the healthcare experience for the patient by making medical bill payments less stressful. In Wisconsin, that's all made possible by our comprehensive independent healthcare provider network. We simplify billing and lower costs for everyone involved in healthcare and offer various ways for individuals to pay without breaking the bank.
Circle Electric is a 35-year-old commercial, industrial, and healthcare electrical contractor with engineers and designers on staff, backed by the most technical and well-trained master and journeyman electricians. Whether it's an equipment move, new building, or commercial remodel, from pre-construction all the way through startup, primary power, branch power, or low-voltage systems, we're here to support you. Our 24/7 on-call service department is here to meet your electrical needs for our industrial and healthcare customers. You always hear safety first. We are safety always. Circle Electric will maintain electrical reliability for business continuity.
I'll never forget the feeling in the pit of my stomach when I received that call. It was a mix between heartburn, an adrenaline rush, and my stomach was turning over. I received a call from one of my managers who was overseeing a satellite team 1,000 miles away from our headquarter office. And the best way I could describe the call is it was a true oh shit moment. Now, not only was this manager a good friend of mine and a colleague for 8 years, but he was on the eve of launching a 6-person sales satellite office in Dallas, Texas. And we spent the last year hiring, onboarding, and training a whole team of sales reps. And he called to inform me that he was resigning. Not only was he resigning, he was going to one of our biggest competitors. I immediately went into panic mode, and I knew that I was in the eye of the storm. I had just entered it. And I thought immediately about damage control. How are we going to communicate to these 6 sales reps and let them know everything's going to be okay? You should stay with us. We got a clear vision. Don't follow him to the competitor. I knew I wasn't going to write an email. I wasn't going to make a phone call. I thought maybe we could get on a Zoom meeting and talk to these 6 guys that were 1,000 miles away. I knew exactly what I had to do. I booked the ticket to Dallas, Texas about an hour later, and that next morning, I was on a secret solo mission to go save this new office. I got down to Dallas the next morning. I called an impromptu lunch meeting with these 6 reps. They were surprised to hear that I was in their marketplace. And I explained to them exactly what was going on. I didn't bullshit them. I didn't tell them everything was going to be all right. I was just super honest with what the situation was. And as the day went on, salespeople like to drink, and we went and did drinks, and we did dinner. And by the end of the night, we were in a pretty good spot. And I thought one of the reps said something that stuck with me. And he said, Metz, you physically being here to tell us speaks louder than any words you might have said. And that's when it dawned on me. When you're managing or leading in chaos, when you're in the eye of the storm, your actions and your efforts matter. They'll count. Now, I spent time talking to all 6 of these individuals. I showed a lot of empathy. I listened to their concerns. I didn't assume anything. I didn't assume what I was concerned about was something they were concerned about. And then I spent some time building some trust. And then finally, I led with confidence. And these are the areas that need to be focused on when you're leading in a chaotic situation. There's a lot of chaotic situations now. More than ever, we're leading in chaos. And understanding to have a calm hand at the wheel, and if you're leading a team, making sure you can help them navigate that storm is really important right now. When I talk about showing empathy, to me, this is just about being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. When I think about empathy, I think about when I was 12 years old. My parents recently divorced. I was moved to a new city, a new school district. I was playing with some neighborhood kids. And I was living in a blended family of 6. I was the 4th out of 6 kids. And we just kind of came and went as we pleased. Sometimes an older sibling would pick up the ball or play parent or whatever. I was playing over at a friend's house. And we left, and we didn't communicate with the parent as to where we were going. We're 12 years old. And that parent got really upset with me when they found me. And when I got home, I asked my mom, why is this lady so uptight? Like, just leave me alone. I'm an adult now. I'm 12 years old, right? I'll do whatever I want. And she told me something that I'll never forget. She shared with me a story. She told me confidentially that woman years ago lost a child in an accident. And forever after that time, she's been a very protective parent, not only to her own children, but other children in the community. And I understood. And then my mom said something I'll never forget. She said, until you know every event in someone's journey, you will not fully understand why they see the world the way they do. Now, we're entitled to our opinion as leaders, and we see the world in a certain way. It doesn't mean we need to agree with everyone, but we need to understand. That's leadership, is not agreeing, but respecting and understanding other people's opinions. And when it comes to a crisis mode, the things I'm concerned about are probably very different than what everyone else is concerned about. And we don't know what those concerns are until we ask. So first, we need to meet people where they are. We need to understand what their concerns are so that we can address it. Next, we need to build trust. Building trust usually takes a long time, but the quickest way I found to build trust is to start making promises that you can follow through on. We need to demonstrate trust to receive trust. And one of the things I like to do as a leader is I try really hard to catch my team in the act of doing something good. Usually they're waiting for a leader to yell at them. In sales, it's make more phone calls, set more meetings, bring in more revenue, money, 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 right? And I go out of my way to say, hey, I really like the way you said this, or I saw that you ran 7 meetings last week. That's awesome. You're on your path to success. If we can underpromise in a time of chaos and overdeliver, we're going to quickly build trust. I had a sales rep walk into my office about 2 years ago. He was a young, good performer. He's been live with us for about 18 months at that point. He asked for a few minutes. He closed the door. He sat down, and I was like, okay, I've seen this before. This guy's probably resigning or he's asking for more money. That's what salespeople do when they close the door. And he came in and he said, I just want to let you know I just got off the phone with another company. They offered a lot more money, and I told them no. He said, in the interview process, you really told me that I was going to be here, and I've only been here thus far. And you guys have over-delivered on what you've talked about. And that's testament to my organization and other leaders around me. And maybe I undersold the organization, but I'll tell you what, I don't paint some fantasy land when I'm talking to a candidate. I want them to know what it really looks like, because at some point the honeymoon's going to be over and we're all going to be here working, and there's going to be expectations, right? So any opportunity I can set the bar a little lower and exceed that, we're going to build trust with people. Now finally, once we've heard out the concerns and we built some trust, it's time to lead with confidence. Now confidence isn't arrogance. The way I think of the difference is arrogance is thinking you're better than you really are, but confidence is knowing exactly what you're good at. And once we are confident in ourselves, we can now empower the team. We can empower the team to go with confidence as well once they understand our vision and our direction. Sometimes when shit really hits the fan and it's chaotic, imposter syndrome sets in. And I define imposter syndrome as not feeling worthy for the moment, not sure you're good enough to do it, right? And sometimes when things are really hard, that's a gut check. Can I lead in this time? I have a little imposter syndrome right now being on the YG stage, right? But when I get that imposter syndrome, I remind myself there's a reason why Andy called me and asked to be on the stage, right? And I think back on other times that I've had success, and I draw on that to go, there's a reason why you're here. So if you're leading in the eye of the storm, understand there's a reason why you're a leader, and it's time for you to step up and show your confidence so that you can build confidence in other people. Now, confidence, this isn't a fake it till you make it. You need to really believe what you're feeling in order, because people can genuinely feel if you are confident or not. And if you don't have all the answers, that's fine, tell them that. And if it might be a bleak outlook, tell them that. It's pretty easy. It's all about being honest and not telling people what they want to hear, but telling people what they have to hear. Now, the way I think about this is, when I think about confidence and empowering others, I think about I can't give what I don't have. So if I don't have a ton of confidence in myself, if I'm not leading with confidence, it's hard for me to do the same for others. Just recently, during the global pandemic with COVID-19, I recently ran into a situation where one of my 4 teams was a team of cold callers, lead generation. We call them business development reps, which is a fancy term for cold callers. And there's about 12 individuals that kind of got punched in the face for the first time. They're calling in March of 2020. Businesses are going down, and they're supposed to cold call and set meetings for an outside sales team. Well, it's really hard to cold call when there's a ton of easy objections of why someone's not going to meet. And I got a chance to meet with them, and I certainly showed a lot of sympathy and empathy, and I asked a lot of questions and what their concerns were. And I thought, instead of telling them it's all going to be fine, pick up the phone, I decided to share a story. I was 24 years old, and I was working at a great firm in Milwaukee, and I was having a lot of success, and I got recruited over to Oracle, which I thought sounded really good on a resume. It's a big tech company. And then I found out they were going to pay me twice as much. See you later, old job. I'm off to the next thing. I didn't ask any questions. I didn't care. I was just excited to tell people I was working for Oracle, and I was going to make all this money. This was 2008, and about 6 months into my employment, I got a call from my boss's boss who said, "You're done. That's it. You and 500 other people are unemployed as of this moment." And I really learned a valuable lesson that I was without a job, but I also didn't ask enough questions going into it. So I went home to my wife on her 24th birthday, unemployed, newly married, to tell her I no longer had a job. And I spent a couple months trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I kind of always been in sales, and I went right back into a cold calling situation. And I thought, if there's any time to cut your teeth, it's right now when it's hard. And I cold called for 18 months in 2008, 2009, into 2010. And I ended up being the top cold caller on my team and got an opportunity to elevate and move on. But the point was, I was sharing with the team, the best time to get better is when it's really hard. If everyone was taking meetings and there were incoming meetings coming in, you're not learning anything. In fact, expect people to hang up on you. Expect objections to come. This is going to be hard, and that's good. Have gratitude when it's hard, because that's when you get stronger. When I look back at my own career, I just started as a cold caller. And now 12 years later, I've been elevated about 5 different times. I oversee a team of 35 people, which I can't believe that they trust me with that. I oversee the same cold call team that I started with. But I still put a lot of stock in the fact that I started when it was really hard. I started when I had to be sharp, and I had to figure out how to really get people to stay on the phone and to take a meeting with me. And then it became easier to run those meetings once I knew how to set a meeting. And even today, just last week, I'll still get in the trenches and help people with their cold calls because I still have that skill set from over a decade ago. I focused on all I could, which is controlling what I could control and trying to be the MVP of my team. And if you're trying to be the best you can be, whether it's great times or it's really hard times, you're going to benefit in the long run. Remember this, chaos breeds opportunity. And if you're leading in a state of chaos, be grateful. It's an excellent environment to not only develop yourself as a person, but also a leader. Thank you.
Awesome, brother.
Thanks,
all right.
man.
So you nailed it talking about two of my favorite things, chaos and leadership, and how grinding your teeth in those times really breeds and builds that success. So first and foremost, I want to know, that period of March, right? Yeah. 6 months past now. Where's the team at today?
They're having a lot of success, but just like anything, now they're anticipating some of the objections. And to some degree, the economy's rebounded, the sky's not falling as much, but there's always valuable lessons when it's really hard. I can't think of a time where I've received an award or made a bunch of money in commission that I learned anything. That just feels good.
Yep.
But usually when you get your teeth kicked in, someone tells you suck, you lose a job or something, that's when the learning moment happens.
And is there ways that you could artificially create that chaos as a leader?
Well, I mean, for me, running a sales team, it's always drilling. It's like the military. Yep. Like you practice. Steve Mariucci, longtime NFL coach, used to say, we work 60 hours during the week for a 60-minute game.
Yep.
And I love that because it's like they're putting in an hour of practice or film study for 1 minute on the field. Now, in sales, it's always like get on the phones and go make money. But we spent 2 months doing a boot camp training, and we continue to do drilling and practice. So you can always create a practice environment that's harder than the real world, so it's easy when you go out and do it for the real thing.
No, I love that, and I talk about, we do rehearsals. That's what we call it in the military.
Yep.
And I always tell people, you got to do it 50 times because you only have to do it right once. Yep. But those other 50 times, you can screw it up. But the one time you have to do it right, that's it. It is sometimes life or death. Yes. That's the way we go into it. And now in the military, we do create artificial chaos all the time.
Yep.
Everything from basic training all the way to scenarios to war gaming, certain things that can happen. And that implementation of chaos in the workplace, I think, is ideal. But one thing you just hit on was, a 2-month boot camp. I'm thinking about cold calling. It's like, okay, you got your W-2 filled out, and here's your script.
Yeah.
So what's the value in that training? And how much? It takes resources, obviously, but obviously the results are there. What is your retention? What is it? What is that feeling you get from those people that are pounding the phones every day by going through the process? How important is that process?
Yeah, I think a lot of organizations are like, thanks for filling out your paperwork, go make us money. And I think one of the things we believe in is invest on the front end. One of the things they told me when I started was, we're planning on you being here for 7 years, so we're going to take, and back then it was 3 months of training, yep. And now I'm going on 12 years. So, hopefully they feel like the pay it off, right?
So, 3 months of training, they're in their heads, they're putting up, 2 weeks of training for every year. Right. They're just loaded on the front end.
Right, exactly. And I think you're getting buy-in from your team, but one of the things I always say is I do a lot of hiring is I'm telling candidates, like, we're willing to invest in you. And look, these skill sets will go beyond just this organization. These are sales skill sets. These are universal, right? And now it becomes another recruiting tool to show that we're going to invest in them.
Appreciate it, bro.
It always is. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for taking the stage. Now, are you or someone you know ready to take the stage? Help us feature the best speakers around by heading to younggunsmovement.com and applying to appear in the show. Apply now and you or someone you know could be featured on an upcoming episode. YG Stage is sponsored by Fleet Farm, Health Payment Systems, and Circle Electric. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow Young Guns Movement on social media to stay tuned with new content coming your way. I'm your host, Andy Weins, President of Graham Solutions. Thanks for joining us.